After immersing myself in the passionate discussions on Reddit and Twitter surrounding the finale of The Curse, it became abundantly clear that the episode had sparked a whirlwind of interpretations and reactions. An extremely polarizing finale, cucking a significant amount of the audience by feeding them breadcrumbs throughout the show, and then in the end going to extremes to remind people what the crux of the show has always been.
You're watching reality almost at a real pace. And sometimes, if it's during something that normally you would not want to look at it, and it's still going on for that amount of time, I can understand why that might make you feel slightly uncomfortable. But it was not the objective. The objective for us was to just get to the truth of these people's emotions and get to their motives, and try to understand who they really are, because the show is about that. Who are you?
I'll be sharing my perspective and understanding of the show's themes and the meaning behind the finale. In my opinion, Nala was just a kid, and her curses were just words. Asher, Whitney, and Dougie did not suffer due to any supernatural curse, but rather as a result of their own flawed decisions and refusal to accept accountability for their actions. It is through their own flaws and the company they keep that their lives take a downward spiral. I mean, this is just my opinion based on everything I have learned spending hours spying into some of the most uncomfortable moments of their lives. Ending the show with Asher's Space Odyssey is incredible because it forces us into the position of, do we stay stuck on what literally happened and what it means? Or do we actually look at the moments that led up to it, around it, and after it, reading how people react to it? This show was never going to spoon feed us an easy answer. The fact that people believe that there's gonna be some big moment of clarity in the end is in itself the thing that clouded the audience's view of the horrible decisions these people have been making all their lives. I mean, think about it. How many times did you wish the curse was actually real? I see a lot of people saying that there was no clear resolution in the end, and I think those people might not have fully let themselves experience the discomfort of getting to know who these characters are, who these people are, and what questions the show is asking everyone. Throughout the show, Asher, Whitney, and Dougie engage in insincere acts of kindness, masking their true intentions behind a thin veil of benevolence. All the way from saying that they're doing something good for the community while gentrifying a neighborhood, displacing the local residents, manipulating the people around them, even holding Upshir and his family hostage while pretending to care for them. It was all a farce. Asher pretends to care at first just in case the curse might be real, then Asher pretends to care to hold it over Whitney's head. In the finale, Asher gets to see Upshir without his savior complex rose tinted glasses, and we are reminded that this relationship is forced onto Upshir. He does not even want the care, and Asher has potentially just enabled his addiction and caused more harm than good. Literally, every time Asher says he was helping Upshir, he was lying and just looking out for himself. He even let Dougie exploit them. The chiropractor scene with Upshir made me feel so scared for him. I now realize it was foreshadowing the ending. The passive homes are marketed as sustainable and environmentally conscious, but they prove to be impractical and uncomfortable for the people that live inside them. The curse lies in the false promises of these homes, the facade of doing something good, wrapped over the various different means of exploitation around them. In what some would call a crazy upside down world, the season finale starts off with the most dramatic act of kindness by Asher. He wants to be perceived as reborn, like he's shed his skin. This is one of the many ways Asher has manipulated Whitney into staying with him. When Whitney tries to leave the relationship in episode 9, Asher checkmates her in a brilliantly sadistic way. When she tells him how he would not do anything good if it was not for her, he triples down and does anything he can to prove her wrong. Knowing that HGTV did not like Whitney's solo story, he used it to further strengthen his hold on her. Now they have a baby. The name of the show is Green Queen. They're getting a second season. Asher portrays himself to be a selfless person and is willing to go bankrupt for it. Whitney is stuck in this relationship with two babies and resentment growing inside of her. My first thought when the second half of the finale started to get wacky was that she manifested an escape for herself from this shitty situation, like she used her rich white cis woman superpower. In episode 9, Asher jokes that they're perfect on paper, and paper beats rock, implying that they'll be fine and will overcome the rockiness of their relationship. The finale shows that Asher forgot that scissors beat paper. The ending delivers an unexpected twist, challenging the viewers to rethink the show's message. Through the whole anti gravity bedroom scene, Asher and Whitney try so hard to work together to somehow reverse his sacrifice. I think Asher internally regretted giving Upshir the house. This could be the second time he regretted an offering to Upshir's family. He regretted giving Nala $100 as it was too much. He literally took it back. Giving Upshir this house, Asher has symbolically and practically surrendered himself to his family and to the passive home. Turns out the passive home is not safe for babies, especially ones that lack empathy and own bowling gloves. I think the passive home was built for two people, as it has to maintain the generated heat from occupants' bodies and their utilities. If it had to be one or the other, which baby would make it? Even when Asher asks for help from everyone, nobody believes him. They belittle him, overlook his actual needs, ignore the concerns he's voicing, do not believe that his problems are real, think they know better than him about what would help him, and pretend to do what he wants. They miss the mark so bad that their help literally kills him faster. When Asher suddenly flies away, some could say seemingly atoning for his past sins, it tempts us to search for hidden meaning and cosmic explanations. However, it is essential to recognize that such occurrences are most probably symbolic rather than literal. The show urges us to release our attachment to finding meaning in everything and instead embrace the unpredictable nature of life. Dougie struggles to get over his addiction of exploiting the suffering around him for personal gain. The one thing that's different about him than the couple is that he is fully aware of his identity and the consequences of his decisions. He just wishes that he could blame something else. In the end, he is yet again reminded that his choices are the cause of his suffering. So I think Dougie, plagued by selfishness and a tendency to exploit others, remains unchanged despite the tragic events that unfold throughout the season, and especially at the heart of the curse lies its central theme: identity. Benny Safdie, one of the creators of the show, has repeatedly emphasized the importance of understanding and accepting oneself is what the show is about. The character's journey serve as a mirror, forcing us to confront our own sense of self and question the reasons behind the situations life throws our way. When the characters deflect blame and seek meaning in external factors, they become trapped in a cycle of self delusion. The show challenges us to delve deep into our own identity and grapple with who we truly are. Only through this self awareness can we navigate life's challenges and find clarity amidst chaos. Once you know who you are, accepting why you end up in certain situations in life becomes a lot easier. The finale starts with Asher pretending to have figured out who he is and forcing Whitney to be a version of who he thinks she is. But I think Whitney did indeed realize who she is. Throughout the show, she kept slowly having to face her identity, but she just swallowed it, shoved it to the side, and went along for the ride. She literally accepted every offering, constantly worrying about the optics of rejecting someone's supposed good deed towards her. I feel like as Asher sang to her, she probably wished that he'd just mysteriously get sucked into space so that she could just be left alone. When Asher visits Upshir to give him the spare key and asks him if the girls are home, you can see that he's disappointed about their absence. I think Asher still thinks of the curse and has not let it go. The audience and Asher together have constantly been provided with such moments that have no realistic explanation, With the chicken gone, then the chicken in the sink, Nala's family coincidentally squatting in his property, he assigns meaning to these moments himself. Inherently, these could just very well be coincidences. Sure, we can definitely interpret Asher flying away as a result of all the people wishing him to go away and Whitney maybe wishing if he'd just disappear. But if we do that, we are overlooking reality. I think she was not trying to look for meaning behind what wacky shit was happening to Asher. She just wanted to get Asher some help and go into labor. This is why things worked out for her because she started accepting who she is and not worrying about finding meaning in things that probably don't have any meaning. I think if you want to extract any symbolic meaning out of what happened to Asher, it feels like a speed run to resolution. The universe basically said, okay, this is who you think you are. Okay, sure. If that were true, then this is what would happen. The floating scene in the bedroom almost felt like a divorce enforced by the universe because Whitney would not be able to do it herself. Asher had told Asher had told Whitney he'd be gone if she would not even have to ask. When she holds the baby in her hands, she knows who she is and what she wants. Nothing else mattered. She didn't need her doula, her husband, the show, or the homes. She was done. She had a real baby that she can mother. The toxic baby was aborted by the universe. She won. She recycled her husband and gave birth to a smaller version of him, a more eco friendly version of him. She truly is the Green Queen.